we're living in an era where everything is an Instagram reel or a YouTube short, and I know that you've spoken about this, of the malaise that we're dealing with, where focus and attention spans have become shorter and shorter. How do you reorient the brain?
You put down your phone. You have a conversation.
How often do you put down your phone?
I put down my phone for many hours every day. Sometimes I put it in a drawer. I turn it off. I work in my writing room. I usually don't have any technology. If you look at all artists, they had one thing in common. They would leave the world so they could hear the signal, because there's too much noise. So tactics, number one, turn off your phone. Once a week, have a zero device day, a digital Sabbath. I call it the 2 telephone protocol. That's another tool. You have one phone loaded with your apps and social media. One phone just has SMS. And just spending time in quietude, as simple as it sounds. Going for a walk or having a family meal without the phones being there. So setting some digital boundaries so you get your life back is so powerful.
We're talking about creating or setting digital boundaries in an era where everyone now is talking about what AI is going to do and how AI is going to change the way that we live and work and so on and so forth. From a productivity point of view, because so much of your time and research and writing is also about improving productivity, how do you see life in the world of AI as we move forward?
Well, I would say, Shereen, that technology is an awesome servant and a terrible master. So let's not, and I say this very humbly, let's not degrade and dismiss technology. India just put someone on the moon. Look at the beautiful things that technology allows us to do: connect with people, build relationships. We can learn courses from social media. If we use social media well, it's an incredible tool. Even the content creators, you can distribute value, inspire, elevate millions of people with a phone right now. Technology is great. What's happened, though, is I would say actually the majority of people have become addicts. They've become addicted to the likes, addicted to the white screen, addicted to all of these things that are costing us. They're costing us our cognition, our creativity, our productivity, our family relationships, and ultimately our relationship with ourselves. Blaise Pascal, the French mathematician, said most of a person's miseries are derived by their inability to sit alone in a room. We're not good at being alone anymore because we're so addicted to the technology.
How much time do you spend in solitude yourself?
Hours every day. I live on an olive grove with my life partner, and we have a little dog. My children are older now. And I spend a lot of time walking, a lot of time in contemplation, a lot of time writing. So yeah, I'm okay spending time alone.
Has the process of writing itself changed? And also, how do you cope with the fact that you wanting to put out an authentic message, or in your mind what seems like an authentic message? Because in many ways this is a space that's now getting increasingly commoditized as well. I mean, you've got TikTok influencers who are providing self-help advice and self-help mantras practically on the minute. Does that weigh on you now as you go into the process of putting out something new and something original?
Well, you're right. The whole world are gurus. Everyone is a guru. Everyone on TikTok and Instagram is a guru or a
Do you consider yourself one?
I don't. I don't. What I do is I try to stick to my knitting, Shereen. I try to, I've been writing these books. The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari came out about 30 years ago.
Yeah.
And I just do what I love to do, and I try to, how does my process change? I just push myself even more to be more real, to be more practical. The new book, The Wealth Money Can't Buy, I think it's my most calibrated book yet, my most valuable book yet.
Why would you say calibrated?
I would say calibrated because I've just spent 1 year on it. I've rewritten it 10 times.
Really?
2 weeks ago I was in Rome. I locked myself in a hotel room for 3 days. I went through the entire manuscript of 377 pages again. That was suffering, but I wanted to make it as beautiful and as valuable as possible. And I try to, like what I think we all should, block out what other people are doing, try to put your best work out into the world, do it from a place of service as well as mastery, and people always respond to quality. And as you become more successful, become more humble and try to do even better work and help more people and be even more of yourself, and good things happen.
So going over 377 pages to come up with the best iteration in your mind, I mean, that's a hard process. How much did you change, or did you leave it as is, or was it just tweaking?
Well, so the first 100 pages, I went, oh, this is actually pretty smooth. Because again, it's been through, let's say, 10 iterations. The first 100 pages, pretty smooth. And then I started actually having to rewrite a number of the sections. And it was hard going. I felt like giving up. But there's an acronym I love when it comes to work, and it's LME, Last Mile Excellence. It's not how
you love acronyms, don't you?
Acronyms. And it's last mile excellence. It's not how you start a book or a movie or whatever it is. It's how you end it when you feel like mailing it in. When, I could have sent it into the publisher. It would have done very well, but I owe it to my readers to make it the best I could do. And actually, if I may be a little spiritual, when you sit down and you say, I'm going to commit to doing it and going through the whole manuscript over these next few days, the universe sends you energy. And on the final day, for some reason, I woke up at 3 a.m. It's like I'd slept for 10 hours. And so it's almost like there was wind underneath my wings, and I finished the final pages, and it got sort of easy.
Through the course of the pandemic, there was a lot of change that we saw, and the expectation was that, look, work life is going to change forever. The hustle culture is over, but the hustle culture is right back. Work from home is over, work from office is back. So what do you believe is the way that we should look at work-life balance? Everyone's talking about, should you work 70 hours or not? That's the big debate in India at this point in time, or that's not something that the Gen Z wants to accept in any case. How do you see this tension, this conflict between what work-life balance should be or needs to be, and also the role of leaders in this context?
So what is the tension? What is the balance? I mean, there is a lot of tension. And it's not an easy answer that I could give you in one line or two lines. It depends on the corporate culture. And it depends on, some people, Elon Musk, everyone come back and here's what I want you to do and here's the number of hours. And if it doesn't work for you, perhaps find another place. And he's the founder of his companies, and he's setting the culture. And if you want to work there, you've got to fit by the culture. And other organizations, you can work 3 days a week and you can take Fridays off, and that's fine for that company. So there's no easy answer. I do believe in hard work. I don't think anything great is ever created without industry and hard work. No great relationship is ever created with hard work. No book is ever written with hard work. Hard work has a bad name right now. I think we've in some ways gone to the other extreme from hustle and grind, and I think we need to get back to, as you suggest, a balance. And then what's the role of leaders? The role of leaders is to lead. The role of leaders is to build a great culture. The role of leaders is to grow more leaders. The role of leaders is to have a great mission to make the world better through the products and services of the company, and then help the people get the job done.
What's the biggest mistake that you've seen leaders make?
There's a few.
Okay, go for it.
and one is you fall in love with your success, and you start talking in monologues, and you start listening to your frontline people, and you think that because you're the dominant brand in the industry, the dominant company in the industry, you fall into the trap. Even a lot of athletes, because you're a champion, you'll always be a champion, so you stop doing the things that made you a champion, and it's a very quick descent into obsolescence once you stop keeping your... I mean, there's Andy Grove, the co-founder of Intel, said only the paranoid survive, and I think we should be cheerfully paranoid. Like, don't stop.
I don't know if you have a view on what's happening in Silicon Valley currently with this whole open AI battle and Microsoft and Musk on one side, and there's a whole plethora of power dynamics at play today. But, as you look at what's going on, and there's ego, there's aspiration, there's purpose of wanting to change the world, etc. How do you view the current developments?
I would say that these titans, not specific ones, but in general, how can you understand their what's the word, machinations or machinations,
Yes.
or how do you understand these people? And I would say these titans are complex people. There's ego, and there's competition, and there's a sense of mission. I mean, they're just complicated people. It's like I love great art. And the great artists, they're just complicated people. I think the great geniuses, there's a fine line between genius and madness. And so I think to get to the pinnacle, whether it's business, arts, athletics, the humanities, they're just complex people. They're insecure and they're brave. They're creative and they're just complicated people. They're fascinating.
Certainly are fascinating, and it's a story that's developing. But let me end by a quick set of questions to you, a volley of questions to you. What do you drive now, since you sold the Ferrari?
I don't drive.
At all?
I don't drive at all.
You don't have a car?
I live in Italy, and my license expired, and the process to get a license is hard, so I don't drive.
So the book that inspired you the most?
Wow. Maybe Khalil Gibran's The Prophet. Incredible book. There's a book, a lot of people don't know about it. First time I read it to my children, it made me weep, and it's called The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein. That's a very powerful book. And yeah.
The best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
My dad used to say, Robin, when you were born, you cried while the world rejoiced. Live your life in such a way that when you die, the world cries while you rejoice. And then when I was in my 20s, I lived close to a bond trader, became a good mentor. And he said, Robin, run your own race. I thought that was great advice.
How would you like to be remembered?
Doesn't matter. In the Everyday Hero Manifesto, there's a chapter I used to talk about legacy. I wrote a book, Who Will Cry When You Die.
Yeah.
I don't care about legacy. Why does it matter how I'll be remembered? I'll be ashes in a little urn.
Do you care about relevance though while you're alive? No.
While I'm human.
Yeah.
I'm human. We all want the respect of our peers. It doesn't matter that much, but legacy, how I'll be remembered. I'll be dead, so why does it matter?
We've gotten accustomed to looking at life in listicles, the places that you want to visit, the people that you need to see, the books that you need to read. So if you were to draw up a list today of the top 5 things, and it could, food, places, travel, whatever, what would that list look like?
It's such an interesting question. I wouldn't change very much. I've traveled so much over 30 years. I like what I have for dinner in the evening. I don't go to many restaurants anymore. Here in Delhi, I will. I love North Indian cuisine so much. But I like what I have for dinner. I love what I eat. I don't have a car anymore. I'm not saying I've become the monk who sold his Ferrari. I'm not saying that. I like the places I travel to. I mostly travel to the same places. I want to do what I keep on doing now. And
I'll end by asking you about India, because here you are, exactly almost a year since your last visit. How's your relationship with India changed, and how much of India is part of your identity?
Well, I think it's a very deep part of my identity. My parents are Indian. The Indian values were definitely a part of our house. I think in our DNA, it's part of the DNA. And it's a very deep, rich, wise culture. It's the land of meditation, yoga, spirituality, so it's such a part of me. How's my relationship changed with the country? I started coming here, I think the first time I came here I was 7 years old, and it's clearly changed. And this is the first trip where I actually think I think about the idea of buying a flat here.
Oh, really?
It's the first time I've always loved it. But now it's like there is so much energy. Entrepreneurship there's so much confidence in a world where so many people are scared. it's the first time I thought, you know, might be nice to have
Are you going to do it?
Might be nice to have a base here in Delhi. Who knows?
Well, we look forward to that, Robin Sharma.
Thank
It's been an
you.
absolute
Thank you.
pleasure.
Thank you,
Thank
Shereen.
you so much for joining us, and we wish you the very best of luck with the book and with the rest of your trip in India. Look forward to seeing you back again.
I wish you all the best and congratulations on all your success.
Thank you so much. Well, with that, it is time for us to wrap up this edition of On the Record with Shereen Bhan. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again next week. Till then, from all of us here, goodbye.